So in today's session, there are three things that we want to present and share with all of you. So one is the health of Singapore F&B industry. So later I will showcase some of the questions that people are chatting. So if you're in F&B right now, so if your business is not really picking up, is it because of the COVID? Is it because of the environment? Of the other aftermath, after effect? So these are some of the questions probably on people's mind. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. At least that's what we believe. So what are the gaps you can leverage on? So I'm just going to show one. And of course, I'm going to talk about a case study, a company that is in coffee F&B, and what did they do? So what are the best practices we can actually learn from them? So these are the three main areas that we're going to talk about. So when we talk about the health of Singapore F&B industry, so it has been more than a year. So questions that we are asking, so for example, some of the questions that we're asking, people are not spending, is it because of COVID? Okay, is business bad? Is it because of COVID? Now, is it possible to match pre-COVID business? I think these are the three questions. Now, bearing in mind that we have lost some components along the way, namely tourists, we have lost more tourists, right? So these are the three questions. So if I'm going to do F&B, if I'm going to start an outlet, so would I be able to match up to pre-COVID stats and figures and revenue? Now there are two main things that we want to look at when we answer this question. One is of course how bad and how deep has the tourist impact hit us, the food and beverage. Okay, we will use Sing stats, the government stats, I will illustrate it. And of course, right now we talk about two channels. So if you follow the Sing stats which they publish every month, right? In 2020, they add in a component which is online. They track the online delivery sales, and I thought that's a very beautiful touch. That's something that's very, very good. Okay. So, and of course, we can actually see what is the impact of it. So these are the two things we want to be concerned about. So the tourists, what is the impact on us, and if Singapore government add in the channel, the online channel, what is the impact on us in terms of F&B as well? So these are some of the things we are talking about. Let's go into the stats. Now this is the visitor arrival. Of course, I don't need to show now, right? I mean, this bar, you can see that it's all red. It's not so good. We don't have a lot. And in fact, just a couple of weeks ago, with the ministry announcing a slew of measures, we would have less. So let's just take it that we, F&B industry, let's park it aside. We're not going to have visitors, tourists for X number of months. Okay? We're not going to have visitors, all this for X number of months, so just park it aside. But I'm showing you 2019. If you look on the right hand side, that's how many tourists we are having. 1 million plus. Now all these are public data. Sorry, someone asked a question, is it?
Recording? Yes, no?
Yes.
Right, okay. Can see it.
Okay, I think that's background noise. Now I just want to showcase that these were the tourists, so we were having X number of tourists, and now we do not have them. Okay, so take note of that. All these are from Singapore stats. So to July 2019, we clocked in 877 million in terms of revenue F&B. So that's before COVID, guys. Okay, so that was 2019, July. In December 2019, just a couple of months before COVID landed in Singapore and we have all our measures, we did 964 million, a little bit shy of $1 billion worth of revenue. Okay, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's very, very good, right? Okay, now let's enter into COVID and how bad was it? This is just a couple of months ago, in fact, a few weeks ago, March 2021, we clocked in 730 million in terms of revenue, right? So personally, I think it's fantastic. So I do not know what you all think. You can actually put it into the message, or you can have some questions you want to discuss. You can put into the message board as well. That's 730 million. So I think that's quite a booster. Just relying on our own domestic market, we look at this figure. I also want to bring your attention to the online sales portion. online contributed 20% in terms of sales. So this will be a theme and variable that I'll talk a lot about throughout this sharing session. So 730 million, March 2021, a few weeks ago. So December, we pushed back last year, December 2020, 800 million. Now if you remember the 2019 figure I showed you, of course, we were down compared to 2019 December, but we were not that far. In fact, more than comparable to the July 2019. Okay, if you just look at the stats, right, it's not too bad, not too far off. And guys, bear in mind that we have just lost 1 million over tourists. 1 million over tourists, 800 million. Personally, I would feel that that's not too bad. Again, take a look at the online sales proportion, 19.9%. Okay. So how well have we performed versus the worst of our time 1 year ago in the worst of COVID? So 430 million was what we were doing back then. You can see the year-on-year compared to 2019, it was down 50%, and of course a huge proportion of it, 40% comes from online. Okay. So in May we were really bad, right? We have all the lockdown, basically you have no physical contact, no visits to cafes and all this. And just to add on, in May that particular month, McDonald's was shut down for a couple of weeks. I don't know any of you still remember. So that was really a down period for Singapore F&B. Okay, so let me just give you a whole overview of how things work. So if you look at here, we have tourists 1.3, okay, so 877. All this, we got no tourists. Of course, May we were really bad. And right now, we're tracking at 700 and 800 in December. The online portion, I did out the percentage. It remains a plus minus of 10 over %. Now, if you're looking for gaps, right? If you're looking at how and what I should do, right? I thought the blue color should spell out something very, very clear. The guy that are doing online, they're getting an online delivery, all this, they're not going away. They're still there. And the good news is there's still room to move or maneuver. We did 800 million in December. And let me just share another good news. This is without the 1 million tourists, which means to say even if we're recovering in 2022, just a few 100,000 tourists come into Singapore. If you're running F&B, there will definitely be incremental on top of whatever there is, right? If we manage to keep our regulars well, okay, that's a big thing. If we manage to keep them, engage them, continue to do business with them, and guys, that's the reason why the blue color is so important. Okay. So let's answer the question. People are not spending because of COVID. Absolutely false. My December 2020 have demonstrated to you false. People are still spending, right? Perhaps it can be a little bit more. Business is bad because of COVID. Well, if some of your friends' business, F&B business, is not so good, it's not really because of COVID. Because we have almost increased to pre-COVID revenue, just a little shy of 77 million, without 1 million tourists. So if the business is bad, it could be a variety of reasons, but I do not think it can be attributed to COVID. So is it possible to match to pre-COVID business again? Some of the months, in fact, just a couple of months ago, March 2021, demonstrated that it's quite possible. In fact, we might still have room to push up further. Okay. Let me sum up the health. So current F&B without 1 million visitors, we're doing good. There's still room, as I mentioned, I will demonstrate shortly. There's still room, but we're doing okay. Online ordering, guys, very, very important. It's very, very stable. It differs only by plus minus 15%. So imagine anything happens externally right now. When we say we cannot have 8 people to dine, 5 people to dine, straight away, immediately, impact is felt in the F&B on offline. Online wise, it still goes. In fact, what I'm going to share with you later is that over and above sales. In fact, more sales is being conducted 2020 to 2021 than versus 1718. Okay. Now the last portion I thought is very, very important. Why December 2020 we enjoy high revenue? Obviously, the Singapore rediscovery vouchers plays a huge role. Festive dining too, thematic. So if there's a reason for them to spend, they will spend. Right? If there's a reason for them, they will spend. So So now the question is, if you're running an outlet, are you giving them any reasons to spend? So you also notice that since the COVID, since circuit breaker, activities have been piling down. So there are not a lot of promotion, there are not a lot of marketing activities going along. So if you have done a little bit more on that, sorry, someone is asking a question? No, okay. Yeah, no worries. For those that just dropped in, if you want to ask a question, my colleague will be facilitating for us. Just drop in into the meeting chat. Okay, so as I was mentioning, so if you are thinking about like doing promotion, doing marketing, changing your menu and things like that, things which we are very used to doing pre-COVID, I think you should actually execute it and schedule it. Run a marketing promo calendar for a year, much like what you would do previously. Because people are still going there because their activities, like December 2020 has demonstrated, right? 800 million, which is like 60-70 million short of the pre-COVID. I thought that's really, really fantastic. Okay. So the health generally of F&B industry in Singapore. Okay, I do not know what's happening the next few weeks. None of us know. Until today, it's good. Like I said, March, we clock in 730 million. So there's no major festive, right? It's just after Chinese New Year, so that's fantastic. Now,
I have a question.
Okay, yeah, Gabriel.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any hypotheses on why people are spending much more some money instead of series by the watch to probably 50% of the previous year? Are there any hypotheses on why people are spending so much more on
Now, currently, I do not have an exact hypothesis, but like I say, if you look at the December 2020, right, what the government is pushing through rediscovery vouchers actually give us a huge boost in terms of the revenue, and of course, it's compounding and it's amplified. When you spend $1, when you're given $1, you won't spend $1. For example, if you got zoo voucher, we go to the zoo, we just spend, just look at the animals, we'll be spending on F&B and so on. So back to the F&B guys, right? So like will you be banding together and doing certain things that doesn't infringe or break any SMN, the safety measures, but yet draw traffic? Now, of course, the best place to do all this is online, right? So you don't infringe anything and yet you can bring people. So like myself and a lot of my stakeholders, we used to run National Coffee Day, so that's offline. But right now, of course, obviously we can't do that. Safety distancing and all this. What I'm just thinking about, can we actually run it online? So it could be a different experience, but how can we make the experience to as close as what we have previously? Looking at this thing is going to last for quite a while, right? So I think narrative and activities is what drives the thing forward. But without more stats and without a lot more info from stakeholders, that is just my personal take at it. Yeah.